However, this is my first experience in a studio with cameras and lights, and my first experience to act as a hostess. I hope I improve for you as we go along. Let's move to a discussion of the project, its history, the purpose of the proposal, and who's involved. You in the library community had experienced quite a bit of success through the ATS-I radio satellite in the form of the Alaska Library Association's experiment. And in addition to that, the library community knew that based upon an experiment that was conducted in New Mexico, when a correspondence course was used with regular workshops, it made quite a difference in the students' interest. So the question came to mind, would video programming over an ATS-6 satellite add a further dimension yet to library training? So the purpose of what we're doing is to test the effect of video enrichment sessions combined with audio interaction from you, the students. The State Library wrote a federal proposal, they submitted it, and we were funded through Title II-B. Consequently, we have three elements in this project. We have the correspondence course, we have video interaction, and we have group workshops. And from this comes the name that you've seen or read or heard, Tri-Dimensional Training Program for Community Librarians in Alaska. Let's start by discussing each of those individual elements one at a time. The first would be the correspondence course, and I'm happy to say that we have a videotape from Joe Schubert, who is a state librarian of Ohio. Joe wrote this course that you're about to take. He acts as the instructor through Loyola University, and as he says in his tape, he's had a concern for some time for library development. Joe has been active nationally in the American Library Association. He has served as chairman of the legislative committee, and he's also served as a consultant in many western states. So let's take a look at Joe's introduction, and here's his tape.
Hi, I'm Joe Schubert, and I'm pleased to be working with you, Sheila Fuhrer, and Brooke Sheldon on this new Alaska satellite program using the Loyola course on public library service. I think you might be interested to know something about the course and some of the people who have taken it. I guess by now people in 25 or more states have taken the Loyola course, and they're spread pretty well over the country, from Mississippi in the south up through New England, out to California, Nevada, and Montana. And as you know, last year, a number of librarians in Alaska took the program in a course project sponsored by the Alaska State Library. The first thing I think that's important to know before you get into it is that it's not going to be a snap. It's college work. At the same time, I think it's interesting and practical, and you don't have to be enrolled in college to take it. The students that we've had up to this point have included some people with master's degrees in mathematics or sociology, and they've also included some people who haven't completed high school. But they've entered as adult students, they've done well on it, they've worked on it, completed the course, and passed it with flying colors. The main thing we try to do in it is to make it interesting and practical. You might want to know why we started it. Actually, it grows out of my experience back in Nevada, where there were a lot of people who were working in libraries and doing very good jobs, but didn't have a chance to go to library school, and probably didn't expect to have a chance for one reason or another. So we developed the correspondence approach as a means of helping the student learn by himself. And that's what correspondence coursework is. You're going to do the learning by yourself, and the course will help you in some ways, and the program which Sheila is developing will help you in other ways. I think the second important thing to remember is the best way to get started is to do that first lesson. When you get your book, and I hope you have it now or that you'll have it within the next few days, don't try to read through the whole thing at first. Don't be overwhelmed by it. read the introduction in the first few pages and start out to do lesson number 1 and send that off to me. The second thing that's important in regard to this is that as you do that first course, pace yourself and figure out what is a reasonable schedule for completing this program. It's possible to complete all the lessons in about 3.5 months, but most students take somewhere between 9 months and a year to do it, and with some extensions, it's possible to take up to 2 years to complete it. But the main thing to do is to figure out a schedule for yourself and then keep to it as well as you can. Some people set a schedule whereby they send me 1 lesson a month, 1 paper a month, or perhaps 2 a month, or maybe even 1 a week, although you'll find that that's really pushing yourself to keep to that kind of a schedule. Another thing, don't be afraid to ask. It's independent study, but you're perfectly free and encouraged to talk to other people in your library or on your library committee, or someone working at the school, or even your family. I think you'll find that in the case of some of the lessons, it might even be helpful to have your 6th grader or 8th grader help you in something like figuring the capacity of shelving for a library or figuring the floor space that you need for a community of a certain size. The state library people are also there to help you, and I know the sessions that they will be arranging both by satellite and at meetings will be helpful to you. I look forward to meeting you in November, and most of all, I look forward to getting acquainted with you by mail before that time.
And I guess maybe it's even more fun to have it in color and learn, since I haven't met him, that he has bright red hair. I'd like to take this chance to answer some questions that I've either received from you by the fact that you've written me letters or we've talked on the phone, and perhaps if there are questions still about the course that I haven't answered, please do bring them up during our opportunity for interaction. This course number, once again, is LS-208. It is an undergraduate course for 3 hours of credit. If you are interested in applying the course to your own academic background or for credit, that is your responsibility to clear that with whichever institution you want to apply it to. Assignments, once again, should be mailed. This information should have come to you now. Should be mailed to Mr. Joseph Schubert, 2713 Cranford Road, Columbus, Ohio, 43221. That is Joe's home address, I'm certain, because he's otherwise at the Ohio State Library. Let's take a look at some of the materials you should have received from us by now. You should have received the course syllabus with all of your assignments, and the Alaska Interlibrary Loan Manual, which we'll get back to, and number 1 and 14 of the Small Libraries Project. These materials will be yours to keep, and the history of these is that in 1956, when the American Library Association adopted standards, they had a grave concern for services in small public libraries. So this series of pamphlets on specific subjects was designed for community librarians and trustees. You also received a handout on library law, which we'll cover maybe at a different time. You received a copy of interim standards for small public libraries and a few other things that may come in useful to you. Your assignments, if you looked at the course syllabus, the first one shouldn't be too difficult for you because it's about yourself. And the second one, you noted, is about your local library, the library in your community. And the third, for the third assignment, you will need to have the Small Library Project Pamphlet number 5, which I neglected to send to you, but which I will send to you in time. The rest of your materials will need to be borrowed through the Alaska State Library via interlibrary loan. Now, some of you are very familiar with the little interlibrary loan forms that are self-carbon. Some of you have been using them for years, and yet for others it may be a new procedure. So if you don't have these available to you, let us know and we'll make them available. But for the purposes of just learning how to do it quickly, let's take a look at an enlarged interlibrary loan form. And just for the purposes of giving you a text assignment, let's assume that we were going to fill this out for one of our books. The first thing you'd want to do would be to put your name along the side. And Paula Russell, may we use you as an example? Paula is a member of our institute. She comes from the North Pole Branch Library in Fairbanks, which would be the information that would go in this area. If we choose the title, Strategy for Public Library Change, then on the author line, the author happens to be the American Library Association. Put in the date. If it was today's date, it would be October 10. Don't worry about the date due. We'll worry about that. On the next line, the title, Strategy for Public Library Change, would go in. And the publisher is American Library Association. It was published in 1972. On the requested of and source of information line, please use Alaska State Library and use the code LS208. LS208, and we'll know then that you are a member of the Institute, and we'll know exactly. That might help us expedite your materials to you. Some of you have, one more thing I wanted to remember to say to you. I will prepare a bibliography or a list of all of the text materials required, and I'll also give you an indication for which lessons you will need them, and that might help you plan, which makes me want to make a direct comment to the gals in Ira Lee Hardy and all the friends out there in Tanana. I think you sent us interlibrary loan requests for every one of the books that you're going to need, and I think that might be a little overwhelming for you. So what we'll do, unless you tell me otherwise during interaction, is send you those text materials that you'll need for your first number of assignments. I have had questions on how long the course lasts. If you've received your material from Loyola, you know that they say the course expires on October 3rd, 1975. I will personally be with the project until August 31st, 1975. So if you want that much time, you have a year to complete it. If you feel like getting through it faster, then I'll help you do that too. Those are the questions I was going to answer about the correspondence part of the program. And the next element is the element of the video enrichment and interaction sessions. Now, not all of our participants are from footprint, ATS-6 footprint communities. And since any good experiment requires a test group, our director has selected interested people both inside and outside the ATS-6 communities. So, would you like to know who your classmates are? In Tanana, Ira Lee Hardy, Loretta Pollock, Clara Charles, and I understand those are there are nicknames I probably need to learn there, and I understand maybe 2 or more other interested people might be out there today. In Fairbanks, Paula Russell and Crystal Ensminger. In Nenana, Dorothy Gonzalez and Nancy Bosco, and those gals have driven up from Clear. In Anchorage, Barbara Judd and Dolores Oppitz. In Juneau, Mary Kay Scholes, Marguerite Fiorella, Gloria Barkley, Alice Branton, Rita Ratcliffe. And at the Alaska State Library, there are 4 members of the staff, although they're not officially in the Institute. Jean Hunt, Gordon Gravel, Linda Berger, and Karen Mitchell are taking the course. Down to Petersburg, we have Hazel Watson. Oh, I bet that's supposed to be Betty Watson. And in Craig, Darlene Morganson and Annalee Paul. Now, outside of the footprint communities, we have from Bethel, Guy Bernico. In Wrangell, Margaret Sikovic Myers. In Castleoff, Edna Sims. David Wellman from Nome. Goldia Salzman from Talkeetna. From Palmer, Helen Brundage. From Kenai, Emily DeForest. From Ninilchik, Marion Hyland. And from Seward, Margaret Deck. And from Skagway, Joanne Beerley. I have a feeling that some of you may know each other, and I'm looking forward to the chance when I'll really get to know you. members of the Institute who do not have ATS-6 equipment will be receiving video cassette copies of the tapes. We haven't worked out all the logistics on that. I understand some of them have found equipment for reel-to-reel, and some of them are still looking for equipment. And if our participants outside the communities don't have access to video or to viewing equipment, this might again provide an additional test if they don't have any of the video programs at all. I promise to keep in close touch with them, but it would give us another interesting thing to evaluate. There are 16, at this point, 16 total video programs. We will be using the same time period every 2 weeks. The content of the sessions may vary. I'm going to be talking about this quite a bit. I want you to influence the content of the sessions. We do, however, have only, our last program is May 8th, and it's my understanding that the ATS-6 satellite will be on its way to India in that time. Very briefly, I'd like to make a couple of comments about the forthcoming workshop. You know that it's going to be held in Juneau on November 18th and 19th, and Joe Schubert does plan to be here. It will be a chance for you to meet with him personally. I hope you know, too, that the Institute can cover your transportation expenses. We'll be working out the details on that. We'll work out housing arrangements for you, too, and there'll be more information to follow on that. One thing I would like to say is we encourage your suggestions if there are specific things that you would like to have covered in that workshop or on the video enrichment sessions. We're very open. We've got some good ideas for what we're going to maybe do together in November on the 18th and 19th, but we're also very interested in your suggestions. So that is about the amount of introductory program we have planned for now, and I would like to take the remainder of our time to start the interaction. And I guess just let me say that it's our responsibility to make it work. So this is the first time run through for us. Let's see if you're out there. Do we have anyone listening from Tanana? Do we have any interaction from the people in Tanana? Ira Lee and Loretta? I think your equipment is in both the public school and in the health services hospital.
Loud and clear. Thank you, Cindy.
Great. Okay, we had an announcement that the radio equipment was working well at the hospital, but most of our friends are at the school.
Yes, this is KB2XSN Tanana. How copy? Over.
Hi, is Ira Lee or Loretta or Claire there?
Tanana School to the hospital. How do you read, Cindy? Over.
This is the hospital. Could you understand?
Yes, yeah, we're hearing the school. Are any of the members of the group there that have questions or comments? I'm hearing the school.
They asked you how you copy. When someone asked how you copy, they mean, can you hear me? You should.
Yeah. Thank you. David just informed me how to use this equipment. Yes, we do copy for Tanana. Great. Okay.
This is Lori Pollock at Tanana.
How do you do, Lori? Do you have a question or a comment?
This is Ira Lee Hardy in Tanana. Our problem is we have our audio set in one room and our video set in the other room. So we can talk to you now, I guess. We can't hear you. We'll have to go down to the other end of the school to hear you.
Oh,
okay. Maybe we can get this fixed up later on.
Okay. Ira Lee Hardy tells me that their equipment is separated and that they can talk to me, but they can't hear me at the same time. I think we can get back to that. I'd kind of like to go down the list of those of you who are maybe there. In Fairbanks, you're trying an experiment at the Central Library, I think. Paula Russell and Crystal, are you there? And is your equipment functioning? In Fairbanks? They still have ATS-1 equipment, I think, from the ACLA experiment at the Fairbanks Central. I'm going to go on down the list because we don't have that much more time, and we can come back if we like. In Nenana, Dorothy Gonzalez and Nancy Bosco. Are you there in Nenana? We didn't have an opportunity to do a roll call before the program, and I know that Dorothy and Nancy both plan to drive up to Nenana. Hello, Dorothy. It's good to hear you. Can I answer? Is Nancy there? Can I answer any questions for you?
No, Nancy did not come in.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Dorothy, or any comments?
When will our schedule start?
When your question was, when will our schedule start? I'm not quite sure I understand the question in terms of the schedule.
Okay, well, this would be our first meeting. When will our second meeting be then?
Okay. It will be on the 24th. Am I right? That's 2 Thursdays away at the same time. We're always broadcast on Thursday afternoon.
Okay, then, thank you.
Yeah, great. It's good to talk to you. In Anchorage, perhaps Barbara Judd and Dolores Oppitz are at the Health Services Hospital. Are you there? In Anchorage? Maybe we'll come back to them. I think they're going to try to do that. In Juneau, we don't have any interaction. In Juneau, we don't have an area for interaction yet, but there's quite a number of us here, and we'll be looking at videotape copies until we get an opportunity to interact. Let's go down to Petersburg. Betty, I'm going to have to learn to call you Betty. Are you working in Petersburg?
Roger.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
He's here, over.
From Petersburg? I can see that I'm going to have to get a little more comfortable with the interaction part, and we'll get back to maybe trying to refine this. We have just a couple of minutes left, and if there are any members in the roll call who would like to make comments or just notify us that they're there, let's take a couple of minutes to try to do that. I'm not hearing anything except all kinds of exciting electronic signals going on in my ear. Petersburg. Petersburg? Is Betty Watson there? I read you Petersburg.
Yes, Betty is here, over.
Great. That's good. Any questions or comments, Betty, that I can answer for you?
I had to learn how to use this too.
That makes me feel a lot better.
The textbooks, if you are sending them to all these different participants, do we have to send an order in? Could I possibly just have my name on the list and you send it to me when you get some?
Betty has asked...
the first lesson, for instance.
Right. Betty has asked a question about textbooks and whether or not, since everyone is starting with the first lesson, they wouldn't, as a matter of fact, all need the first materials. And let's get ourselves in the habit of following the interlibrary loan procedures. There are enough materials and there won't be any shortage, but let's use this as a way of having a control, if that's a good answer to you. Okay? That's great. We have just about 30 seconds left, and I think I want to say let's make this work and good luck. And I'm looking forward to seeing you 2 Thursdays from now, and definitely seeing you physically all in November here in Juneau.